Hello people, Angelo here. Before we get into this, I just wanted to say that this is not a breakdown, this is just my first reaction to the video. I've also got my new stream background here that was going to be used during streams, but I just forgot to unselect it beforehand. So let's quickly click off that and get on to the main thing. This will just really be a bit of commentary with this in the background, me listening to it. Of course, I've turned it down so you should be able to hear the background stuff, but it won't like be all consuming over my voice because that can sometimes be a problem with like Streamlabs where like sometimes settings might be slightly off. Anyway, without further ado, let's start.
Hi everyone, it's Ash again at Steel City Interactive. This video is our July development update and a walkthrough of the gameplay.
Before we get into this, can I just say the amount of people in Discord who were going mental, like, where's the update? Where's the update? I was just like, it's probably going to be around the 30th, 31st, maybe the 29th. And it's like, patience, people, is always important with this kind of thing.
I know you've all been looking forward to seeing this, and we're really excited to show you where
True,
we've got
true.
to. So in
We've
this
all been
video, we're
waiting.
going to take you
Okay, first I'm just gonna pause and look at some of this stuff. Like, I knew this wasn't a breakdown, but I just wanted to read this.
through a number of in-fight mechanics. We're going to talk about our launch plans, and make sure you stick around till the end because we have a fighter reveal that we think you're going to like.
Ooh,
I
nice.
also want to say
Fiverr.
thank you to the boxers who
Ooh, I don't want to
agreed to
accidentally
be
reveal
in this
stuff.
video.
Like,
So whilst we were pleased with the feedback we'd received from our March gameplay footage,
and I say the
we knew
graphics
there
look
were still
lovely.
many items to fix and upgrade, and I'm delighted to show you the progress of that now.
But this
As
is
you can
better than
see,
UFC
there's been
graphics.
some significant improvements to our overall venue, lighting, and crowd. So throughout the rest of this video, you'll be able to see the actual controllers in each of the corners. We've put this in there just so that you can see the responsiveness of the fighters in the game.
The moving
It's an
camera is
area
kind of
that we've
cool.
put in a lot of effort because the responsiveness of the controls was incredibly important to our footwork system, and same with the punch control system. So putting all these aspects together, we needed it to flow. So here you'll be able to see exactly how responsive the fighters are, and we're
So that ref
incredibly
looks
happy
pretty
with the
cool. I like the
results
ref.
so far.
Like, I'm not sure why he turns into a
Before we
ghost, but I
continue to
like
the
it.
next phase, we'd just like to say that the referee is going to be replaced with the legendary Kenny Bayliss. So I'm sure you'll all be as pleased as we are that there'll be no more Mr. Generic Referee in our future videos.
Why not give us a bunch? Like,
So
I
Ethan,
like
our
ghost ref.
gameplay programmer,
Bold
will
ghost
take
ref.
you through the fight mechanics. Please note that none of this is final as we continue to develop ESBC.
I actually missed that
So the
bit at
movement.
the bottom, so I'm just gonna rewind because I actually do want to read that. Okay, so LT, that's right trigger, so that would be L2, I think, and that is left stick. So pretty much you're gonna be moving with left stick, but you're also gonna be weaving with it. Sort of what, like, I was talking with Study in the Discord, and I remember him saying that. Also, I think he mentioned it on stream once when we were like having, I was just talking in the chat, and he
That
mentioned that he
none
thought
of
it was
this
gonna
is
be like
final
that.
as we continue to develop ESBC.
So the movement system is split into various states, allowing for full motion control, where pushing the analog stick all the way produces quick steps and halfway has smaller steps. But the transition is very seamless, and this is all part of our footwork system, allowing for angles to be created. However, it's all about the momentum of your fighter. Your fighter will shift their weight from one leg to the other. They won't just instantly float in the opposite direction.
Yeah, that was an annoying thing about UFC games where like they just fly around, and even Fight
So
Night,
we're
I
really
watched some
excited
people
about this
complain
new
about that kind of
feature
thing.
that we've put into the movement system, and it's giving the player the ability to showboat and actually display some of the mannerisms that some of the marquee fighters will have. So if you've seen Roy Jones Jr. fight, I'm sure you're probably thinking now some of the things that you might be able to do with a fighter like Roy Jones Jr. or
A
even
handcuff.
Muhammad Ali. So it really opens up the possibilities. This feature is toggled by pressing up on the D-pad and moving the left stick around in the direction that you want to go. So what this does is it brings out the unique movements for the boxer. This is a combination of showboating and the odd feint within the movement. This is all part of the boxer's personality. Some boxers will have more feints in their loose movement, some boxers will have more of a showboating style. Here you can see Lawrence Accordi feinting a punch, but then lands a nicely timed left hook. This is something that is toggled seamlessly, going from loose movement back into your normal stance and vice versa. This is something we're building out for some of our marquee fighters in the game, but overall it adds another level of realism and tactics into the mix within esports boxing club.
I'm just gonna make a quick comment. Like, I was planning to make all my comments at the end, but I want to make a quick comment at that. Like, that actually sounds pretty cool. Like, if you're switching between like unique stances, so let's say Dempsey, where he's like doing that side to side, trying to build up momentum for big hooks and such. Like, and then like he's sometimes in his normal stance. I'm hoping that's like the type of thing they're on about. Like, it seems to be with how like Lawrence, I believe it's pronounced, like I can't pronounce names very well, but it sort of looked like what he was doing, where he was sort of switching to a unique like fighting stance, where like he'll throw strikes in a bit of a different way. But I'm wondering if that's how it's going to work with like people like Dempsey, where it's sort of like that Dempsey roll like movement, where he's shifting side to side, building up momentums for his punch. So when he comes in for the punch, it has a lot more power behind it. I'm wondering if that's what they mean, sort of that type thing. And it's not going to be like the same for every fighter, because each fighter has their own unique showboat thing.
Dodging punches will also be possible by flicking the left stick in the direction that you want to go. Combining this with time counters will be key. However, this isn't a case of just initiating a dodge when you realise a punch is coming. You have to anticipate the punch, learn your opponent's patterns and fight styles. Here you can see Lyndon Arthur dodging Lawrence Accordi's punches. However, if you do it too early, you could get yourself into trouble, so timing is key.
Yeah, that sounds
Also,
like good
dodges will
skill,
look
but also
different
balance.
depending on which fighter you select. The marquee fighters will have a different style. Activating the loose movement modifier will also change how your dodge will look, as you can see here. Another
Did he
new
just
player's
Roy Jones
defensive
in?
arsenal is the ability to weave. This is activated by holding down the left trigger whilst moving the left stick in the direction you want to weave. So here you can see Lyndon Arthur dodging some of Lawrence Accordi's punches. It can also be used as a tactic off the ropes, and you can also block while you weave as well. Here you can see Lawrence Accordi hitting Lyndon Arthur with some counter shots, whilst Lyndon Arthur's
I will point this out. I'm not sure if that's just me, but it did look like when he was near on the ropes, the straight at least, and the body shot, like they came in a tidbit too quick, just because it looked like it cut a frame. Though that might just be me being very, very, very like obsessed with certain details, but it looked like sort of he skipped a frame. Like, this was not meant to be a breakdown video, but I've just started breaking stuff down. But that's just something I wanted to point out.
throwing a lot of punches using a lot of stamina. It's clear to see here that Lawrence is playing a defensive game, trying to make Lyndon miss as much as possible so that he uses up all his stamina.
Yeah,
This is
that
because
looks a lot
stamina
better.
has a big impact in
Yeah,
terms of punch resistance and the power of your own punch.
like that animation looks a lot better. Oh, gorgeous uppercut! Like, that was
In
a power
addition to
shot.
being able to weave, players will also now be able to slip punches by pushing the left stick in the direction they want to perform the slip. This is a very quick and efficient way of dodging punches, adding to your defensive game.
There's a lot of defensive options. I actually like that, because a lot of games don't give you much.
So the block system in ESBC has two options. Fully manual, which is 3 points on the head, 3 points on the body, left, centre.
Oh, Study predicted it! 3 points on the head, 3 points on the body. Like, that's literally what Study predicted. Oh, that is great. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Man, predicting the future right here with that, like, 6-axis, like, 3 on the head, 3 on the body type thing. Oh my goodness.
And right, that you can block by holding down the right trigger and moving the right stick. There's a semi-automatic mode as well, which will require you to block either the head or the body. We feel by having both of these options, players who want a deeper simulation can select the manual mode, whilst the players who prefer for a more arcade feel can select the semi-automatic mode instead. So we're pleased to confirm that players will be able to throw punches whilst blocking. Whilst these punches aren't as powerful as throwing...
Before he goes on, I just want to say, like, I've always had a problem that you never could do that in every other fighting game where you couldn't punch while blocking, so I am happy they did that. That was actually one of my biggest, like, pet peeves with, like, fighting games where, like, it says simulation, yet you're blocking and you can't throw punches back. So you take a shot to your guard and then you're pretty much stuck there taking more shots to your guard because you can't throw anything back.
Throwing a punch without blocking, it opens up another aspect of defense for the player. You can throw a jab and a straight whilst holding the block button and flicking the right stick, selecting the desired punch. So combinations play a very important role in ESBC. Each fighter has a total of 42 punches, so you have to be able to put these together. Whether they're from your front foot, the back foot, where it's going from their head to the body, or whether it's stepping away. So combining this together had to feel satisfying. It had to be seamless, where you're able to pick any punch you want, throw it from any angle you want to, and put together at least 2 different punches into a combination.
I wanted to wait for him to finish talking, but it looked like one of those punches didn't connect properly, like the final hook on one of the combinations looked to sort of trim the nose. I'm not sure if it was detected by the nose, but his head turned a bit, what seems a bit weird since it was just hitting the nose. But it's just a tiny nitpick there. It actually looks pretty good. Like I'm actually liking this entire video so far. Like it's definitely been well worth the wait.
So because flash knockdowns and one-punch knockouts exist in ESBC, you have to really pick your shots. You can't throw too wildly and you can't leave yourself open, because if you do so, the game will punish you for not taking into account your opponent's playstyle.
Oh, they look lush.
So right now we're working heavily on individual punches and custom movesets. Here you can see Lawrence Incaldi throwing his jab, his right hook, his left hook, and it looks distinctively different to the other fighters in the game. So this is something we're focused on. We want to allow players to pick and choose certain punches from different movesets to essentially create their own for their own fighters.
Oh yeah. Oh, actually, can I point out there was another game that did that? Absolve, I forget the name exactly, but I'm sure people know what I'm on about, where you could like sort of pick individual strikes to make your own moveset. So that's the kind of thing where we just have our own individual style punches, so you can have like a punch that's one style, then a punch that's another style, and it could like be a hook to the body that's one style, a hook to the head that's another style. Like that would be pretty cool.
I'm going to talk about...
Or do they mean like that it's like sort of you can pick actual fighting styles, or will like certain things only be accessible to certain fighting styles? Like I guess we'll have to wait till a bit later, like till the actual early access is out, if they have create a fighter with that, to see what they mean by that. But it's definitely something I hope to see more of in the future, explained in detail, or even like to get my hands on that kind of thing, because it sounds quite interesting.
One of our main philosophies in the studio, which is innovation. One of the things we wanted to recreate in ESBC was the ability for a fighter to be dangerous even whilst they're hurt. You might want to rush in and try and finish them off, but as we all know, in boxing, one punch can change everything. So whilst we're talking about innovation, I want to take you through some of the career stats that we've introduced in ESBC.
Can I just point out, like, this face, I'm not sure if my mouse is showing on the screen, but that face looks actually pretty good. Like, usually when you have custom faces, they look really, really ugly, but that texture's actually pretty kiss fingers chef style nice.
So this covers everything from health to stamina, conditioning, agility.
Yeah.
We do have a couple of interesting stats that haven't really been done before in combat sports. So we have a discipline stat and we also have a confidence stat. Now whilst this was a very UI driven part of the game, we've decided to start developing an interactive career hub.
Oh,
So
that
I'd
looked
like to talk
lush.
to you about our development journey and launch plans. We recently had some very exciting news regarding additional investment. This means additional resources to focus on areas we didn't think possible until after early access. Now we did have plans to launch early access this summer. Because of the massive expansion of the game, the roster, the expectations, we have to make sure we do justice to the names, whether it's Muhammad Ali, Canelo Alvarez, or the upcoming reveal. We can't rush something that we know everybody is excited about, including us with our own high expectations. So what this means is the early access window for this summer won't happen. Now I realise some of you will be disappointed by that. We also realise it's...
I'm just gonna say, like, in terms of the early access being delayed, I have no problem with that, like, because I understand, like, the game development is very tricky, like, it's better than, like, having a game that's thrown out way before it should be, like, look at UFC 3, UFC 4, games that should have, UFC 1 even in some cases, like, games that should have not been, like, I'm on about the EA versions, by the way, like, games that should have not been released when they were, but they were still released. UFC 2 is probably the most polished game in my opinion. Like, people may be like, what you want about UFC? EA UFC 3 was great. No, it was a terrible game. Like, it's buggy beyond belief, and it's very exploitive. Like, most of the online, if you go on it nowadays, is very exploit based, and they didn't fix any of these problems in UFC 4. Like, a lot of these exploits on UFC 4 exist in UFC 3. It's just they're more annoying because you can do higher damage, because their damage is a lot higher than 4 and 3, and I'll admit the only good thing about 3 is that stamina goes down a lot quicker actually. If like you play it real smart and you manage to get into certain situations where you can counter that kind of thing. Where 4's just a complete mess, and I think everyone agrees on 4 just being a terrible game in general. Like 3 is a passable game. It's a game you can play a bit. Every day you can't overplay it, but you can definitely enjoy it. Where 4, it's like you can enjoy it, but it's not a game you're going to play every day. It's maybe like once a week, or it gets a bit too repetitive and boring.
It's been 10 years since the last licensed boxing game, which has been frustrating for those of us who love boxing. That's the primary reason this studio was created. What we cannot do, and what we won't do, is rush for short-term success. That's not the kind of studio we are. We want to do this right. This is why we're not going to announce a launch window. The next announcement on this topic will be a specific release date. I'm hoping you can see the progress we've made in this gameplay video and the passion for what we're trying to achieve. I'm now going to hand you over to Todd Grisham, who has something he's been waiting to tell you about.
What's up, everybody? I am Todd Grisham, and I'm here in Sheffield, England, at Steel City Interactive as we continue to build the greatest fight video game of all time, Esports Boxing Club. This is the 1024 scanning studio, 180 cameras, the most state-of-the-art equipment you can possibly find. You've seen the footage. You know how good it is. You've seen the fighters we've managed to sign, right?
Yeah.
Terrence Crawford, Roy Jones Jr.,
lush list of fighters.
Ali, the list goes on and on. Canelo Alvarez, you know the names, but there's one that we've somehow managed to keep a secret. How? I do not know, but the secret is no more. I give you, ladies and gentlemen, this man.
And now,
who is it?
the former unified world champion and the current popular, undefeated, and reigning WBC ring and lineal heavyweight champion of the world, introducing the Gypsy King.
Excuse me? Excuse me? What is... Wait, I'm gonna pause right here. I remember seeing an image in Discord that I swear looked like that. But it was so shadowed out, no one could make out who it was, and everyone thought it was someone in the game. I swear I saw something like that in the ESB Discord, and it's like... we were literally played for fools. Oh my goodness, I imagine everyone's like slapping themselves in the face with face palms, like how did we miss that? Like I swear they literally showed a very shadowed image of this guy. And it's just like, it was so shadowed you couldn't make anything out, but it's like, bold head should have just made everyone assume it was going to be like Tyson Fury, but I guess it's like, yeah, they did a great job at keeping that secret. Oh my goodness. Yeah, well, I could go on a tangent, like a rant or something about how sneaky these guys are, but I think that's all we're going to have time for the rest of this video, so I hope you've enjoyed, people. It's like we're coming on 20 minutes now. So like, comment, subscribe, share all that, hit the bell notification icon and turn it to max to stay up to date with all future videos, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.